Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Jeffrey E. Berger, and welcome to Season 1, Episode 1 of Holistic True Wealth, a series in collaboration with Mupo TV, part of Mupo Entertainment. As the CEO and founder of Abundance and Optimum Wellness and a certified holistic coach, I am of the belief we all should be living an abundance of optimum wellness physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and financially. As a certified holistic coach today, I am taking a finance-first approach to achieving all-encompassing personal well-being by embracing new ways to wealth, true wealth that is, in the new modern world. And exploring diverse paths opens the door to true wealth in every sense. As a global ambassador for an innovative company that's revolutionizing the future of real estate through digital technology, I'm deeply committed to empowering individuals and communities worldwide. And my mission goes beyond business by providing global-minded entrepreneurs with new ways to true wealth in the modern world so they can circumvent the system and go from financial fatigue to financial wellness. And it is about creating communities, opportunities, providing access, and building a more inclusive and supportive digital world where everyone has a chance to thrive. And this true wealth is not only about money, it's also a combination of the physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, and financial fitness. Myself and my guests on this series, we're all about bringing awareness around alternative solutions, sharing stories from all aspects, leading one towards a path to overall true wealth. And the mission is to really provide real solutions for real people who are looking and wanting to go from barely surviving to thriving again. And I am just back from New Jersey in July of 2024 with Mupo Red Carpet, Mupo Entertainment Red Carpet, and I was humbled to receive my second award for the Best Holistic True Wealth TV series. I'm very, very humbled by that, and I'm extremely appreciative to my family, my followers, my supporters during this journey. And if you'd like to get access to my digital marketing brochure, just scan that little QR code and we will be, you'll be able to get in touch with me. So today, my very special guest is Mr. Christopher Allen David, who is also a Mupo Familia member as well. And I'm excited to have him in my very first episode of Season 1 of Holistic True Wealth. And he's an amazing man. I've been in his presence multiple times, and we'll talk about that during the interview. But before we get started, we're going to take a quick commercial break. For those who are interested, you can find this interview series in collaboration with Mupo Entertainment at mupotv.com, or you can download their Android or iOS app. We're also seen on Fire TV, Roku, and Vimeo. And we will be right back with Mr. Christopher David. Okay, we are back with Christopher David, a man on a mission who is originally from Olney, Pennsylvania, and now living in New Jersey. He is the father of two young men, Isaiah and Tyler, and lives with his beautiful partner, Alexis. And he is the owner of Health and Wellness Consultant at Christopher Allen David. He's a true advocate for mental health. I totally resonate with him on that aspect. He has studied at CSB Media Art Center, and he is also an actor, model, seen on book covers, and the author of this amazing book, It Was Never Just About Me, The Journey That Saved My Life. and it can be found on Amazon.com. And it was out back in November 9th of 2022, so it's been out for 2 years. And let me just read a little bit about the back cover, and I want to share this with you guys. Could I really leave my family, my kids, with no money, no plans, and no job? I was struggling to define not just who I was, but where I wanted to be. But then it hit me. I'm a fighter. I fight for the things and the people that I love. So with that, welcome, Chris, to season 1, episode 1 of Holistic True Wealth.
What's up, man?
How's it going?
Good. I just want to make a small correction there. So my boys' names are Isaiah and Avery. They're my 2 kids.
Okay.
Tyler's
Avery.
actually my brother. Yeah, Tyler's my younger brother.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's Isaiah Davis, my oldest son, and Avery Davis, my youngest son. Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna have to look at that because I think I pulled that off of your the back cover of your book, but I could be wrong.
No, it's okay. It's all right. It's no big deal.
Thank
yeah.
you.
So that's my book. It was out 2 years ago. It was number 2 on Amazon for 4 months, which I'm very proud of.
Awesome. Well,
yeah, it was pretty cool, man. How you doing?
I'm doing very, very good. Thank you so much.
Good.
So with that, let's jump into this and figure out what's going on here with this interview, because you have an amazing journey. And before we start with the questions, share a little bit about who Chris David is, if you don't mind.
Man, I'm still on the journey of figuring that out, man. It's ever evolving for me. I've been a trainer for 24 years, very successful trainer, and I'm an author, as you noted. I'm also a model and actor. I've been in 25 commercials and on 15 romance novels. I've also been a fighter my whole life, done martial arts. But my biggest accomplishment is being a dad, being a father. I'm a jack of all trades, master of few of them.
Well, that's there's nothing wrong with that. It's about being versatile, diverse, and which is really how life, I think, should be for most people. Instead of being focused on one thing, you're diversified and you've got knowledge in different areas. And that's what I've enjoyed over the last 10 years in my life, in all the different areas that I am, affiliated with now after 27 years of being a software engineer. Darwin
said, man, it's not the strongest or the smartest one that survives, right? It's the one that adapts to change.
Yep.
Being fluid and being versatile in different aspects has been monumental in my growth, as a person, as a father, as a man.
Yeah, and it's about stepping into your uncomfortable zone, being comfortable in your comfortable zone.
It's funny you say that, because that's been my theme for the whole month of August for all my clients. I'm a big advocate, and what I call motion men. When people go to the gym and they do the 3 sets, they count to 15, they count to 12, they count to 8. But they don't understand that those reps are just to get you to a point where you're uncomfortable. To get you points where your muscles are fatigued and failing.
Right.
And it's actually working past that fatigue, working past that failure is where the growth happens, right?
Absolutely.
So the same in your life, mentally and emotionally and everything else. So when you put yourself in those uncomfortable zones, the spots where you're like, man, I don't really want to be here. I don't really want to do this, is what you should be doing. What you should be doing. It's having that familiarity with being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And making that uncomfortable spot your home. Making that your place to want to live. That's the difference between the people who become successful in anything they do, or the people who just complain about where they're at in their life.
I totally agree with that. And as you step into that, what I've experienced is as you step into that uncomfortable zone, each time it gets easier and easier because you succeeded from the other. So
absolutely. People ask me all the time why I'm so comfortable in front of the camera. Because I don't even with this, as I said, I wing it 90% of the time. Unless it's an acting role, of course I got to study for it. But then my modeling and everything else is kind of throw myself into the fire. And I tell people all the time, and it's because I've done really hard jobs my whole life. I've done construction. I've done a lot of manual stuff that was dirty and hard, and weather wouldn't work with you. And
Right.
it makes you tough. It makes you easier to deal with this stuff here. You know what I mean? This is easy.
Absolutely.
This is easy.
It's a piece of cake. Piece of cake. So
Yeah.
your book shares the journey of your difficult struggle from many perspectives. Share what really got you to the place of desperation and what that journey was for you up until, you saying enough is enough. I'm a fighter. I fight for the things and the people that I love. What was that like?
So I would say most of my adult life, I played victim. I would say I played victim. I had a lot of things that happened to me throughout my life, my childhood, and with my family and people that I built relationships with that didn't end well, or didn't go well, or didn't go how I wanted it to go. And so I self-medicated. I turned to drugs and alcohol and even sex to hide from that pain, to run from it. It's an easy bandage to put on, and I think it's something we all do. That's why I'm a firm believer. I don't believe in addiction unless it's like an opiate or something like that. I don't believe in addiction. I believe everybody that turns to drugs, turns to alcohol, turns to sex or destructive mannerisms are all running away from the root problem, right? And it wasn't until I married a very abusive person who was in the same boat I was. Like attracts like, right? Like, so if you're damaged, you're going to attract somebody who's damaged also, right? Exactly. And so she was just damaged as I was, but she was more physical about it with me, and pushed me to a point when when she left, I lost everything. I lost my house. I lost my kids. My family wasn't talking to me. I really was at the only thing I had left was my dog.
No.
Yeah. So I was in my car. in a Walmart parking lot, January 14th. 9 years ago, and I was gonna end it all. I'm sitting on that ledge, man, thinking that maybe it's best if I go. Because my ex-wife used to always tell me that my kids would be better off if I was dead, and I was at a point in time where I believed it. I thought it was a waste of space, man. And that's one thing people didn't understand too. Not to get off topic, but when people are at a spot where they think they want to commit, suicide or self-harm, they're really not doing it to be selfish. They were actually trying to think that that's the best thing for everybody around them to care about. And that's something that's not really talked about a lot. You know what I mean? They think they're actually helping out people around them because they think they're detrimental on hurting people that they care about.
Well,
so they feel like they're a burden.
Yeah, I totally agree because I'm a survivor of 2 attempted suicides myself.
Yeah, see, so you know exactly what I'm talking about. You know exactly what I'm talking about. You know what I mean?
Self-medicated, so forth and so on. So
yeah, so you know exactly what I'm talking about. So for me, it was this book that I had when I was 17. My good friend Bobby, who's also on my podcast, Part of the Tribe, which is on Mupo, gave to me when I was 17. It's a Tai Chi book. And he actually gave it to me at the time to help me with my temper because I had a really bad temper when I was younger. And so he gave it to me to help meditate, to help understand. But there's a phrase in it. To back up a little bit, but when I was sitting in that Walmart parking lot on January 14th and thinking about how I was going to do it and how I was going to take that jump, into oblivion, my dog knocked that book into my lap.
Oh, wow.
And, yeah. And I opened it up. I was like, maybe I'll just read it. It helped me once, maybe it'll help me again. And it's called The Power of Movement by Bob Klein is the name of the book. Tai Chi book, But they talk about it. The page you open up to talks about how if you are living in the past, if you're depressed, it's because you're living in the past. If you are anxious, it's because you're living in the future. And you rob yourself of the one thing you truly have, which is a gift, which is the present, right? And it's the only time we can actually do something is here and now. Like you can be sad about what happened yesterday, and you can be anxious about what's going to happen tomorrow. But in reality, you have control over handling what you're going to do today.
Exactly.
And so it really hit home. And then it also talked about how most of us, Most of us have two voices in our head. Most of us have two. Some of us have a little more. But usually you have two voices. You have your spirit mind and your ego mind, right? So your spirit mind tells you exactly what you need to do. Like when you ask yourself, "Hey, Jeff, what should I do today?" You know, you do that inner dialogue in your mind. Your spirit mind will tell you exactly what you need to do, whether it be something as ridiculous like you got to go to the beach for the day. And then your ego mind, your pride, who likes to keep you conformed in that small little box of safety nets, will tell you all the reasons you shouldn't go. You know, you got watch to do, you have the errands to run, you've got all this stuff that in the long, big scheme of things don't really fucking matter. They
Right.
don't.
They don't.
And but it's a safe place, right? It's a comfort zone. It's a pattern, right? And we are creatures of patterns. So listening to that spirit mind takes you out of that. What we were just talking about earlier is that comfort zone, right? And so I sat there and I was like, man, I had this urge to go to Key West, you know, and I'd never been to Key West. Didn't know anybody in Key West. My unemployment didn't kick in for another 5 days, and I had $380 in my pocket. But for the first time in my life, at 41 years old, or 40, I'm sorry, 40 years old, I decided to listen. I was like, you know, I used to go by Chris all the time, and everybody called me Chris, and I realized that moment that I had to kill the old Chris. You know, I had to kill him. That the Chris's patterns, Chris's excuses, and Chris's running away. As much as I wanted to say I was a fighter, I was also a coward at the same time. You know, that I had to actually sit down and take responsibility for who I was. As much as I wanted to blame, you know, what my parents did or what happened to me as a child, or all the circumstances that led up to my choices that I made. The hardest thing to do, and this goes for everybody that has any kind of addiction problem or any kind of substance abuse or self-destruction pattern, is the hardest choice you have to make.
Yeah,
Is understanding that you had a choice this whole time.
that's right.
That's really hard. You know, when you sit there and you look in the mirror and go, damn, I didn't have to, you know, do that drug. I didn't have to use that person to feel better about myself. I didn't have to drink that 12-pack of beer. I didn't have to do any of that, you know, but I chose to because I was a coward. And then understanding that and then forgiving yourself for it, you know, be like, fuck, man, yeah, that was abused. Yeah, that fucking happened to me. But fuck, I could have handled it differently. I could have been more responsible about it for myself. I could use it as fuel to help others, including myself. You know what I mean? That's huge, you know, and understanding that.
Massive, yeah, absolutely. And
Yeah.
it's once you but it also starts with loving yourself first.
Well, it does. But that's that's one of the other quotes that really helped me out was a friend of mine sent me a thing that said you need to love yourself as if you were dating somebody else. Right. So if you're dating somebody else, you give them passion, you give them understanding, you give them forgiveness, you give them love. When you're wounded or you're in that state of, you know, pointing the finger, you know, it's hard to do that, right? It's hard to do that. You know what I mean? 'Cause you'd rather play the victim. It's easy. It's so easy. Like, fuck, I did this because they did this to me. You know, it's so fucking easy.
Right.
But giving yourself that same patience, that same understanding, that same forgiveness and love is hard to do, you know, but it's worth it in the end. And it takes time. It takes practice. What I tell people all the time is your mind. It's what I call mind kung fu, right?
There you go. Sure.
You can use this. Yeah, it's mind kung fu, right?
Yeah.
So as we work out with weights and we train, we lift these weights and we make our bodies adapt under that stress, right? The muscles grow. Your weights for your mind are your thoughts. Nobody ever tells you how to think. They just say focus in school. Just focus, just focus, just focus. But what are you focusing on?
And they told us what to do. They
Yeah.
said, do this, do this, do this, do this. So we were puppets.
Yeah.
We were manipulated.
So what you have to do, and what everybody has to do, is remember what the triggers are. Identify the triggers. You know, identify those things that trigger you to want to have a drink, trigger you to I want to do a drug, trigger you to want to do something destructive. Recognize those things. Why do you feel like you want to do that right now? And then changing that thought process, changing that habit. So for me, I started putting posts up, 9 years ago with Team David 72 on it, right? And I would put these posts up with these monumental sayings from like people that I looked up to: Arnold Schwarzenegger, Bruce Lee, Muhammad Ali, Gandhi, whatever, Tesla, Albert Einstein. I find all these phrases that really connected with me, and I would put them on a post with my picture right next to it. And I literally did that honestly for myself, because nobody looks at my post more than I do. So I would look at my post and I would see that and it'd be like looking in the mirror. You know what I mean? So everybody thought at the time that I was making these posts up that I was like, oh, Chris is so inspirational. He's so strong. He's so powerful. Not realizing at the moment that I'm making that post, I'm actually my lowest. I'm actually more broken right there at that moment than I have been. You know what I mean? So that was me creating a different habit. Instead of going after that drink or going to do something destructive, I'm like, all right, I'm going to put this post up and I'm going to look at this over and over again throughout my day. Every time something bothers me or I feel like I'm going to do something, remind myself that I'm not that guy anymore. I killed that Chris. Exactly. I'm now Christopher. I've now grown up and matured, and I'm going to make better choices. You know what I mean? And it's understanding that thought process, that your thoughts, like I said, are the heaviest weights you're ever going to carry, and taking those thoughts and reversing them and do something more positive in your life. It's not easy. It's just like anything else. It's consistency. Yeah, it is. It's a lot of work, and it's consistency, right? So, a lot of people think they're looking for quick fixes. There's no quick fix.
No such thing.
There's no such thing. No, it's.
Unless you're doing a drug to get you out of reality.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. But even that's not a quick fix. It's a Band-Aid. You know what I mean? It's a fucking Band-Aid. Exactly. Yeah, so once you come off that drug, you're like, fuck, I'm still in the same situation.
Absolutely. So we're going to take
the worst now because I'm tired and I can't sleep, We're
going to take a quick commercial break here, and we'll come back and wrap up the interview with Chris. And this next clip is going to be just a little introduction to me as a global ambassador to this digital real estate world. And we'll be back right after a commercial break here. Okay, we are back, and we're my gosh, it's almost 25 minutes into the interview here. We're kind of pushing the wire here, but I do want to try to get in two more quick questions before we end the show here. I love your rendition of "Life's a Bitch, Then You Die." Share. I want you to share that change, your own twist. So I want you to say it instead of me, unless you want me to say it.
Yeah, go ahead. Say it. What's the twist on that? What did I say?
So your rendition of "Life's a Bitch, Then You Die," and you say, "Make life your bitch, live like a legend, die a glorious death."
Yeah, I did say that.
Yeah. So give me two sentences about how did that transpire into what make life your bitch.
Yeah. So it's it's so funny. I forgot I said that. It's so funny. I'm a firm believer, man, that so not to get too into religion or but I believe in God. I don't believe in a certain religion, but I believe in God. Right. And me being a father, and understanding how we pass on our genes to our kids, and we pass on, depending how we raise our kids, we also pass on trauma, or we pass on generational trauma, or we pass on generational things. So for me, I broke that generational trauma for my kids. Like I had an absent father, and then I had a stepfather who was really hard on me and didn't really talk to me about anything. It was just more like, do this, or you're an asshole for not doing this, So what I decided to do is understanding that if we are created in God's image, we are created and He is the Father, right? That why wouldn't he pass down his genes to us? One of the things that they miss when they talk about the whole creation thing is they act like God created the earth in 7 days and the world in 7 days and blah blah blah. But
Right.
really, what they're trying to tell you, what he or God or whatever you want to admit, say who it is, the spirit is trying to tell you is that you have the ability to create and manifest your own perspective of your world, right? You have the ability to create who you want to be. And I mean, that's the biggest gift that he's given to us, right? That's truly what we have. So your thoughts carry weight. Your thoughts and what you say without saying them. Like my biggest fear was being homeless, and it happened. Even though I never said it out loud,
Right.
that was my biggest fear. It happened, and so then I decided to change my thought process. I said I'm going to be really successful. I'm going to get what I want in life for my kids. I'm going to leave generational wealth. I am going to help as many people as I can because my kids think I'm Superman. That's one of the things that saved my life is that my son, my youngest son, I gave him an action figure with Clark Kent and Superman on it, and he held it up. He was 3 years old. He held it up and he goes, "Dad," and he points at it. And I'm like, "Man, those are huge shoes to fill, bro." I'm like, I can't fly, man. I can't stop bullets, but what does Superman do better than anybody else? He gave hope. He inspired. Even though he's a fictional character, every single comic book character after him has got a part of Superman in it. Every single one of them. And so understanding that, I decided to change it around from life's a bitch to making it my bitch, and that I'm going to leave a legacy and a legend behind. That's the mindset I stick to, man. And so everybody talks about the one percenters, like not to bring up politics. You bring up like Donald Trump, who's a billionaire. You bring up Elon Musk, who's a billionaire. You bring up all these people that are multimillionaires, even Oprah Winfrey, all these people, right? Their mindset is different than the common person's, than the other people. Their
Sure.
mindset is I'm going to do this. I'm going to work for this. I'm going to make money doing this. They failed, all of them failed hundreds of times, all of them, but they kept going.
Right.
Freaking who was it? Edison, who created the light bulb? They asked him. There was that quote where they asked him, like, "Man, you had 1,500 failures." He said, "Yeah, but I only needed one. I only needed one success." And he did that. So even though he failed 1,500 times or whatever it was, that one success makes a difference, right? So again, it comes down to that just like working out, it comes down to just doing it and doing it and doing it and doing it. And I mean, literally I started training at Lifetime over here at Red Bank, New Jersey, 7 months ago. And I told my girlfriend, if I'm doing this, if I'm going to work for them, I'm going to be the #1 trainer. And I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna show them that I'm the best there is. And I've done that for 7 months in a row. I've been the #1 trainer at that gym, making the most revenue and everything else.
Awesome.
And so far, everything I've said that I was gonna do in the last 9 years, I've done every single one. I've done it, and it's only because I had that mindset where I'm like, you know what? You might tell me no. It's like my acting and modeling career. I'll put an application out for it'll say want a 6'6" black guy, 250 pounds, deep voice. I'll apply. I'll throw a dart right at it. I'll throw it, and whatever sticks, and whatever doesn't. And I've had some amazing gigs just throwing darts and not caring. But I'm like, you know what? They just have to get to see me. They just have to know who I am. You know what I mean? And it's been, and I haven't really applied for any acting and modeling gigs since. I've been too busy being a trainer. But the people I did work with are still reaching out to me, and I'm still doing gigs for them. Yeah.
Persistence, consistence. So, Chris, I can't thank you enough for sharing your inspiring story. That's only a small part of your story. I know there's a lot to it, but your journey from darkness to light is really, that beacon of hope. You talked about hope, and that's what this show is about, is providing stories and, information about hope for people that are out there really looking and struggling. And your resilience, your determination, your unwavering belief in yourself finally has really shown us, no matter how challenging life may seem, even in the backseat of your car, in the parking lot of Walmart, that there is always a path to redemption.
Yeah, if you take anything from this, if you take anything from anything I said at all, is there's no difference between you and me at all. The only difference is, man, is the choices we make. So make better choices and don't give up. Like if I can do it, you can do it. Bottom line.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So what I'm going to do is share here, last mention at the beginning, I'm a global ambassador for an international real estate digital ownership company, and I'm helping open the U.S. market. And if you are interested in becoming educated around holistic financial fitness, and people say, what's holistic financial fitness? Holistic it's coming out from the centralized arena into a decentralized. So we're taking the power and control away from centralized authorities and bringing it over to decentralized, where we have more control over, our own destinations in the future. And that's what this is all about. So if you're interested in getting educated a little bit, scan the QR code. I do 3 webinars per month, and I'm really educating those who are looking for what's happening today and what is going to have an impact in 3 to 5 to 10 years plus. And that usually happens. It happened with Amazon. It happened with Netflix. It happened with Apple. Whatever they developed during those days, it changed the world down the road. And that's exactly what we're doing. And if you're pioneer thinking, forward thinking, and trendsetters, beating the status quo, this is definitely something that you might be interested in, just getting educated, because that's what I did. I was skeptical at the beginning, and I thought, well, you know what, this sounds interesting. So, and this really ties into my aspect and my belief and my mission is that we all should be living in abundance and optimum wellness, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and financially. So, and this holistic true wealth journey is about the balance and harmony across all the disciplines I embrace and teach every single day. So by embracing this holistic approach, we can achieve a state of well-being that is sustainable and fulfilling, leading us to live our best lives. And finally, holistic mental and financial fitness is a new path to embracing true wealth. And I will see you on the inside next time. And thank you so much, Chris. I appreciate your valuable time because I know you are one busy dude. Thanks, everybody.
I was playing. I was playing.